We gather in this room week after week. Do any of our children know we call this room Anderson, right? We call it Anderson. You may not know why, but it's called Anderson after Ruland Anderson, who was a beloved past president of the Unitarian Society of Ridgewood. This space is a particular kind of space, and it has another name, although we don't use it that often here. This is what people would call a sanctuary. That word sanctuary can mean a holy place, a place that's been consecrated or made special by a sacred ritual, a place like you would find in any temple or synagogue or mosque or church. But that word also has a broader meaning. It may not be a simpler meaning, but it's a broader meaning. A sanctuary is a place of refuge, a place of safety. And so this home is a sanctuary, a home of safety and refuge. This place is a sanctuary, a place free from hate, from weapons, from violence. This community is a sanctuary, a community made up of individuals who promise to do their best to make this world better, safer. This is a community made up of individuals who promise to love and embrace all of us, everyone. This is a sanctuary. We are a sanctuary. Just this week, our larger association sent out a letter to all of us in which they referred to us as a sanctuary people. We are a sanctuary people, this letter said, and we will not stop being a sanctuary people. This is what we are called to do, whether we are 4 or 104. We are called to be a people of compassion. We are called to be people who provide safe harbor for the lonely and afraid. We are called to be people who work for what is right. We're called to be people who love unreservedly. So when someone asks us who we are, when someone says, "Who are these Unitarian Universalists?" you can answer, "We are a sanctuary people. We are a people who know deeply our interdependence and who are doing all that we can to live lives of love." It is so good to be with you this morning, here, now, embodying sanctuary in this sanctuary. Every Sunday we get to experience such beauty and such joyfulness together, and we also make time every Sunday for quiet, for reflection, for time to honor the events of our lives, the sad ones, the happy ones, and the ones that just are. Today, I first want to share with you as we come into this time together, you may have seen the email late last night or early this morning, that beloved husband, father, friend, congregant, and teacher Fred Ayers died earlier this week. It was a shock and truly a heartbreak. Our hearts are with Fred's wife, Helen, his whole family, even as we experience our own sorrow at his passing. Fred was such a dear human, if you knew him. Many of us will miss him so much. There will be a memorial here at USR on Saturday, November 16th at 2 o'clock. Mark your calendars, please, if you can be here to celebrate this man. We would love to have you join us. Holding this shared sorrow in our hearts, mindful that each of us holds our own joys and sorrows as we come into this time, I invite you to take a breath. Try to find a comfortable position for your body. This morning, we're going to weave song into our meditation time. You are welcome to join in the singing or to stay in your own place of quiet and just hear the song around you. You can use that how you will. It's a hymn that we know. I'll ask Lily to put up the words. Thanks, Lily. And what we'll do is we'll begin with the first verse, and then I'll speak some words, we'll do another verse, and we'll continue that way through our time of reflection and prayer. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. We come together this morning as seekers on many paths. We come as atheists, Christians, Buddhists, Jews, agnostics, Hindus, Muslims, as Unitarian Universalists, questioning, wondering, seeking not so much finite answers, but infinite truths. We come together this morning as people desiring connection to ourselves and our own deepest beings. We come as people desiring connection to the sacred and spiritual, to the earth and all its creatures. And we come as people desiring a community where we can know others and be known ourselves. We come together this morning to comfort and be comforted. We come together this morning to sing and be sung unto. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. We come together this morning as justice makers, striving to know what is ethical, moral, and right, striving to turn the world toward it. We come as justice makers who want desperately to believe that the moral arc of the universe bends towards justice and that we can help bring about a world of beloved community. This morning we cry out for hope, for strength, for clear sight, and we dig deep into our well of love. We know that we can find that love within ourselves and that when we struggle, we find it among each other. We know that when our cup dries up, we can offer each other more to drink. When we hunger, we can offer each other sustenance. We give thanks for the chance to do this work with and for each other, to hold each other close and hold each other up. We give thanks for the opportunity to speak up and speak out for all people of this earth, and to lean on others when our words fail us. Speak for me, speak for me, speak for me, oh my soul. Speak for me, speak for me, speak for me, oh my soul. Spirit of life and love, being and nothingness, mystery and wonder. We come together today also with gratitude in our hearts for people and places of sanctuary. We give thanks that love is abundant, never-ending, stronger than all things when it is given and received with freedom, openness, gentleness, and compassion. Stronger than all things when it is harnessed to further the common good, and to welcome all into the circle of loving. We come together with gratitude and committed to finding joy. We come together committed to celebrating all that is good in this world. We come together committed to dancing through these lives of ours. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. May we find strength in the days, months, and years to come. May we turn to each other for hope when we begin to despair. May we help each other to keep on celebrating every chance we get. And may we ever keep love at the center of our beings. So may it be. 8 years ago, when my oldest was 4, about to turn 5, I was nervous. It was election time. My sweet little child assured me back then that Clinton would win. I was not so sure. But with the conviction of a child with a feminist mother, my oldest was sure. And I remember saying, hoping to prepare the ground for the loss that did indeed come, I remember saying, even if she loses, we will still have a job to do. Our job will be to make sure we keep as many people safe as we can. Our job will be to make sure that the work of justice goes on. Our job will be to protect whoever we can. That will be our job. And I remember this small child looking up at me and saying, a good job. I kid you not. And it is a good job, and it's one that never ends. I know this, you know this, and although it breaks our hearts a little bit, our children learn this. Our world is not a just world. Our world is not a safe world. Our world is not a world of sanctuary. I have been angry this week, although to be truthful, my fight or flight response is to take a nap, so I've also been tired. I've been sad, I've been scared, I've been numb, I am still all of these things. That's true. I am deeply concerned about what the empowerment of hate will mean in this country, because whatever reasons folks have had for voting the way they did this election, the reality is that we have, as a country, empowered hate and violence and a vision of might makes right that does not sit well with my theology. Politics in this country has not been politics as usual for some time now. We have been and remain in a fight for the soul of America. Do we want to live up to the ideals of this American experiment, the ones that call us to equality and justice and the right to life and liberty for all people? Or do we want to continue to let the sins of racism, misogyny, and greed lead the way? No matter who is in office, we are called by our shared beliefs in interdependence, in justice, in pluralism, in love. We are called by our deepest beliefs to resist tyranny, oppression, and any policies that undermine our fundamental rights as human beings. And perhaps the crux here is that not everyone agrees on which human beings have fundamental inalienable rights. For as long as there have been humans, have been civilizations, there have been those with hate in their hearts, those who draw lines between us and them, those who do not believe in the siblinghood of all people. That's not us. We believe that everyone, no matter their color, their religion, their gender, their sexuality, their economic status, their education, their age, their ... every single person has a right to life, to safety, to being themselves, to choosing their path. We believe in the sanctity, the holiness, the spark and potential of every single human being. That's it. That's a fundamental piece of who we are. We believe that each and every one of us, all across this earth, is beloved. And policies and laws that diminish that belovedness, that diminish those rights, policies and laws that try to remove protections from any beloved being, those are anathema to our beliefs. And beyond policies and laws, behaviors, actions, marches, anything that seeks to terrorize our siblings of color, our LGBTQ siblings, our siblings with uteruses, our immigrant siblings, our global siblings, these are anathema to us. Anything that diminishes the wholeness, the belovedness, the freedom, and the rights of any other person is antithetical to who we are. As a sanctuary people, we believe in healing, not vengeance. We believe in education and open-mindedness, not closing ourselves off. We believe in caring for one another, not hoarding wealth and resources. We believe in tending harmoniously to this earth, not pillaging it for our own gain. We believe in embracing what is different, not shutting out what we don't understand. We believe in growth and change, not stagnancy and clinging to the past. We believe in looking honestly at where we have fallen short and learning, not reacting with fear out of our shame. And so clearly, we are not our nation as a whole. Disturbingly, sweepingly, it has been made clear to us that we do not represent our nation as a whole. And here we are again, with untold numbers of Americans having voted for policies and beliefs that are antithetical to ours. But here is what I know right now. Here's some things I know. I know that the racism embedded in this country is a cancer that we cannot seem to excise. I know that a country founded on land theft and genocide must do more than shrug its shoulders over that fact. I know that too many men fear female-identified folks and folks with uteruses and folks who reject the binaries of gender and sexuality. I know that we all of us, have not done the work. We never had any intentional processes around healing slavery and the racism that drove it. We have never made any real restitution. We have never had any real processes around Indigenous peoples and the way their land was stolen, their lives stolen. We have never had any real processes around healing the hurts of sexism and patriarchy. We have had no intentional processes around healing the hurts against LGBTQIA people. And in fact, not only have we not worked to heal these historic hurts, we have allowed them to continue. We have not risen to making all identities fully equal and protected under the law. We have not risen to restitution. We have not risen to restoration. And this means that everywhere in this nation, from the liberal Northeast to the historically conservative Deep South, racism, sexism, populism, prejudice, and hate have been seething and broiling and feeding themselves on shame and anger while we have failed to do the work. And we've continued to reap what our inattention has sown. I do not accept that this election was a referendum on economics, and you will see people saying that. It is a privilege of identity to be able to pretend that that's what this was. Our Black and brown siblings, our trans siblings, our LGBTQIA siblings, our Latina, Asian, Muslim, Jewish, female-identified, Indigenous siblings are afraid. They have now, even more than before, targets on their backs. Hate has crawled once more out from the shadows, and each time it does, and we fail to defeat it, it grows stronger and stronger. And it can be terrifying. So take a breath. Because there are some other things that I know. I know that so many of us do believe in the promise of what America could still become, do believe in justice and equity, do believe in the holiness of every person. I know that so many of us are ready for the work that has to be done, the work that doesn't end, the job that's always there. And that's frustrating and disheartening, but it also means that there is time for change. Right? The fact that the job can still be done means the story isn't over. Hate hasn't won, not yet. We can still come at hate with love, and we can come at despair with hope, and we can refuse to give in, and we can use whatever privilege and tools we have to ensure justice and equity and sanctuary for all. And that is a good job to do. It is our job to do. Yesterday, I sat on the edge of a ball field under a bright blue sky with the sun shining, cutting through the cold air, and I watched a bunch of kids play baseball. Just for the love of the game, it wasn't a competitive, just to feel the ground under their feet and the cheering of their friends and the joy of physical activity and getting better at what you love by trying and trying again. The season was done. This was just fun and joy. And the air was thick and hazy from the wildfires in Brooklyn and New Jersey, wildfires happening because of the climate change-driven drought that we are experiencing. And that thick and hazy air reminded us grown-ups of everything that we face, of the threats that no longer lurk below the surface, but are right here in our faces, in our lungs. But also right there, right in front of us, were all the reasons not to give up hope, all the evidence we need that there is good and possibility still in this world. There is fun, and there is joy, and there is play, and there are children coming up determined. 8 years ago, 2 exchanges from J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings trilogy went sort of viral as memes. And it's worth remembering that Tolkien wrote his good versus evil epic in the lead up to World War II and having served in World War I. It's worth remembering. And the exchanges that people kept circulating, they capture a sense of the inevitability of the work of change and righteousness, alongside the feelings of weariness and fear, but ultimately hope. The first is between Frodo and Gandalf. Always after a defeat and a respite, the shadow takes another shape and grows again. I wish it need not have happened in my time, said Frodo. So do I, said Gandalf, and so do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. And then between Frodo and his friend Samwise, I can't do this, Sam, said Frodo. I know, Sam replied, it's all wrong. By rights, we shouldn't even be here, but we are. It's like in the great stories, the ones that really mattered, full of darkness and danger. And sometimes you didn't want to know the end, because how could the end be happy? How could the world go back to the way it was when so much bad had happened? But in the end, it's only a passing thing, this shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come, and when the sun shines, it will shine out the clearer. Those were the stories that stayed with you, that meant something, even if you were too small to understand why. But I think I do understand. I know now. Folk in those stories had lots of chances of turning back, only they didn't, because they were holding on to something. What are we holding on to, Sam? That there's some good in this world and it's worth fighting for. We would not have chosen to have the shadows rise and rise again in our lifetime if we had a choice. We don't. And none of us rejoices in this, but for all that we feel in the face of rising evil, there is still goodness, there is something worth fighting for, and we get to decide if we keep that fight going. We get to decide that we won't turn back. There is something worth fighting for, truly, and so we will, together. We will continue to build here a sanctuary for all people. We will continue to speak the truth even when we are afraid. We will continue to ground our actions in our deepest held beliefs. We will continue to get in the way of unjust laws and tyranny however we can. We will continue to remind each other of all that is good in this world, all that is worth struggling for, all that is worth saving. And we will be here for one another, day in and day out, providing encouragement and support, offering and receiving care and compassion, loving and celebrating unreservedly, because we must, because we can. We can and we will go on together. So may it be.